2000. The Yankees, the team of last year, of the last century. Can they continue their dynasty? And can the Sox and their newfound savior change their history? Juniors in Cincy, ready to face off against baseball's elite power in the potent NL Central. In Atlanta, a hero returns and a villain lurks. The stage is set for the next generation of stars and ready to be reclaimed by baseball's current king. Baseball 2000. We're ready. Are you? Are you ready? Are you ready? What's to come?
It's opening day at 1 p.m. on ESPN. Ken Griffey Jr. makes his debut at Synergy Field as the Reds host the Brewers. Over on ESPN 2 at 1 p.m., Mike Piazza and the Mets get ready for their home opener against the San Diego Padres. Then at 4 p.m. on ESPN, Mark McGwire plays host to Sammy Sosa and the Cubs as the home run race begins. And at 4 on ESPN 2, Chipper Jones and the NL champion Atlanta Braves kick off their season against the Colorado Rockies. Hi, everybody. Bill Pito in the studio. Great to have you with us on opening day. We got 2 games for you on ESPN. We got 3 games for you on ESPN 2, and we're here throughout the entire day and night with updates. Out to your ballparks after this.
Major League Baseball opening day on ESPN2 is brought to you by Agilion, run your business on the web, and by Goodyear, #1 in tires.
The gates were closed for the winter. Today, they open. ESPN2 welcomes you to Major League Baseball's opening day, American style. Today, from Shea Stadium in Flushing, New York, the New York Mets host the San Diego Padres. San Diego, 2 years removed from winning the National League pennant, has added some new faces in their attempt to return to glory in the National League West. Meanwhile, New York, which came within 1 game of the World Series, has also made moves hoping to get themselves over the top in the National League East. And today, hope springs eternal. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Shea Stadium in New York. Gary Thorne along with Harold Reynolds. And Harold, no matter how many opening days you may have seen or been a part of, there's always a little extra adrenaline flowing when it comes again.
Oh, yeah, you're definitely nervous, but everybody thinks this is the year I'm going to do it. Doesn't matter what the record was last year.
And on opening day, you might.
Yes.
Everybody's got a chance, even the San Diego Padres, who this year hope to be a little better and have added some new faces. Gone, Andy Ashby, Wally Joyner, Reggie Saunders, John Vander Wal, Kilvio Veras, but they've added some key names, Harold.
Well, they really have. Just look at the top of the page up there. Brett Boone and Ryan Klesko. Those are the 2 key guys that came over from the Atlanta Braves. They're going to give them a little more stock in their offense, but particularly Klesko is the key guy. He's going to get a chance to play every day. That means the left-handed hitter will face a lot of left-handed pitching. You saw his career numbers there, but he only had 49 at-bats against left-handers last year. Not a great chance to make adjustments. I think with an opportunity to make adjustments throughout the year, he should have a good, solid season.
Well, the New York Mets, they were oh so close, so they're hoping maybe just 1 or 2 changes will make the difference. For them, some key players are gone. Roger Cedeno, Oral Hershiser, John Olerud, their great first baseman, gone. Kenny Rogers, Masato Yoshi, couple of pitchers. How about the additions?
Well, I like Derek Bell. Derek Bell's a .281 career hitter. If he's healthy, he's going to be very productive, particularly in that 2 slot. But the key guy on that list is Todd Zeile. You lose John Olerud. Olerud is 6'4" target at first base. Great to throw to. Todd Zeile's 5'11". You look at his career numbers at first base, but it's the adjustment from third to first. He's going to have to learn to play closer to the base, not try to be Keith Hernandez. It was great to get tutoring from Keith, and as much knowledge as you can get is great. But Keith played a long ways from first base. He had great agility. Todd doesn't have that kind of agility. He'll make the adjustments as the season goes on. I think he'll be fine.
And obviously that is a big position for the New York Mets, who had the best infield in Major League Baseball last season, maybe the best infield of all time. And when you lose the first baseman as part of that, the question is, will that infield be as good as it was?
Well, it's a tough adjustment, particularly the throwing, and we'll just have to see. Time will tell.
Well, we'll see whether or not that works starting today. Here at Shea Stadium, some overcast clouds up overhead, temperature 62 degrees. There is rain heading in this direction. It is supposed to hold off until later this afternoon, and there has been no rain here at Shea today. You're looking at a ball field that is brand new as far as the field itself is concerned. The Mets in the offseason dug up the entire field, put in all new grass and infield for the 2000 edition of the New York Mets.
Well, and that's an interesting adjustment because they haven't had a chance to work on the new infield yet, particularly the infielders. So you got to see how the hops are going to play it and how long it's going to take. So often the beauty of having a home field is you know how the ball's going to bounce. And that's another adjustment they're going to have to make.
Bobby Valentine hopes this is going to be the year for the New York Mets. Valentine does not have a new contract. Neither he nor Steve Phillips, the GM, were given that, as the decision was by the ownership to wait until the year was over. Making his way to the mound and being introduced, the man called the franchise here in New York, Hall of Famer Tom Seaver.
Well, he's looking good, isn't he? Got a little gray there. I want to see if he goes with that classic windup.
We told him to throw a fastball. He said it'll probably be a slurve. Seaver will throw out the first pitch for the second consecutive year to Mike Piazza. Seaver also works during spring training. There's his retired number 41. There's a help with the pitching coach, Dave Wallace, during the spring with the Mets, and he works as a broadcaster here in New York. Chris Bochy, the skipper of the San Diego Padres, is going to need patience, and more patience, probably with his San Diego team this year. Not that it's a bad club, but it's got some young faces being introduced. Al Martin, new member of this team in left field. Damian Jackson makes the start at short. Future Hall of Famer Tony Gwynn is at it again in right field. Phil Nevin will back clean up at third. Ryan Klesko joins his team from Atlanta at first. Brett Boone comes over from Atlanta at second. Ruben Rivera in center. Carlos Hernandez will do the catching. And Sterling Hitchcock, it'll be a battle of left-handers today, will make the start on the mound. For the New York Mets, here's the other lefty going today, Harold Al Leiter.
Well, Al Leiter, is last year, you see his numbers there, but the one adjustment that Al has been able to make, I was speaking with Tony Gwynn about this earlier, he goes in and out now. He uses all sides of the plate, doesn't just try to pitch that hard cut slider, so he's become even more effective the older he's gotten.
Harold behind him is going to be a defense that absolutely sparkled last year for the New York Mets, particularly the infield, which was the best infield in Major League Baseball about any way you looked at it last year.
They were tremendous. Ray Ordonez 101 straight games without making an error. But the big change today, you thought you might see Darrell Helmsley and you see Young Mora out there in center field. Bobby Valentine says he can play center with the best of them. Now, we saw what he could do in right field last year during the playoffs. As you get a good look at him right there. He's got a rocket arm. He's got great range, good speed. It'll be interesting to watch him play center field.
Because the left-hander is going today, they will put Mora in center. Our umpiring crew, of course, this year we have Major League umpires, not American, not national, but Major League. Hirschbeck Bell, Brian Onora, and Dan Iasuga, who is working third base today. So the Mets come in 1-1, having split with the Cubs in Japan. While the San Diego Padres, this is their first game of the regular season. Al Martin stands in. Leiter's ready to go. So are the fans. And the 2000 season on U.S. turf's underway. Numbers in 143 games played last year with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Martin will be in the leadoff spot. 2 for 10 lifetime off Al Leiter. Held up on the off speed, 0-2.
Well, Leiter off to a great start. That's what he has to do, throw a lot of strikes right there, a nasty slider. But Al Martin's a tough challenge, and Leiter mixing it up very well on him, Gary.
Leiter loves to start out in a hurry. He's a guy whose confidence can be fairly fragile, Harold. If he gets a bad start in the game, he can outthink himself and get himself in trouble. Bobby Valentine always talks to him before the game about being calm, settle down, just be ready and throw some strikes to kick it off.
Yeah, he's one of those pitchers that can get a little bit too hyper, particularly in a game like this where it's opening the season. But Mike Piazza's great with him back there.
Had a lot of talking to him. 1 ball, 2 strike count on Al Martin.
Woo.
Just missed outside with that. 2 ball, 2 strike count. 34-year-old left-hander. 19 wins, 11 losses in the early part of the year. 3.97 earned run average. Breaking ball, and he missed down low, so after going up a couple of strikes, he takes the count full 3-2.
Well, he took the 0-2 slider he tried to throw, make him chase a pitch, and then the one he just barely missed was the cutter that he doesn't normally throw to a left-hander. He threw a cutter away, and we'll see now 3-2. I would be surprised he just comes back with a fastball and tries to make Al Martin put it in play.
All right, challenge him straight away in the outfield on Martin, the left-handed hitter. And he pops that one up to shallow left field. Rickey Henderson will move in. There is the controversy surrounding the New York Mets for the moment. Rickey Henderson is not happy that he's not been given a new contract. He talked with the GM and manager yesterday about it. They're saying they're not going to do anything until the year is over. Rickey came back in the press today and said, well, I'm not happy, and I'm not in the mood to run. That's what he said.
Well, running's part of his game. There's Steve Phillips there. Good look at him, general manager of the Mets. It's awful early to be starting a lot of stuff like that. Ricky's going to let you know.
So Rickey Henderson has been the controversy early on, and Bobby Valentine says, I understand. And what Valentine means by that is, I don't have a contract either. So he said, I understand what Rickey's saying. Foul back by Damian Jackson, the shortstop off Leiter. And an 0-2 count.
You know, Gary, it's real interesting when you have a player like Rickey Henderson on your roster. He takes so much pressure off of everybody else because he's always going to have the attention on him. You may get off to a bad start or whatever. Everybody's going to look at Rickey, and he's going to take all that pressure away from everybody else.
And he loves it.
Yes, indeed.
Leiter goes outside. Both of the first two hitters he's gotten the head on, 0-2. Now 1-ball, 2-strike count on Jackson.
This young man right here, Damian Jackson, came up latter part of last year and really played a great shortstop when they moved him there and played every day. 34 steals last season.
Fouls that one off. Yeah, he's got what they're hoping for, obviously, Harold, is a little more at the plate from him with just the 224 average and 388 at-bats last year. Like to get a little, not going to get pop from him, but certainly would like to get a little a few more singles. Well, so Piazza starts his season out perfectly. He takes a foul ball off the hand.
Yeah, that's the way Mike's supposed to start a season, I guess.
All catchers have to get dinged in the first half inning.
I don't know how they do it. He's still hurting.
He got banged up last year when the season was over. 1-2 delivered to Jackson. Just missed, and Piazza framed that one. 2-2.
Well, here's the ball that Piazza gets hit. Here's the foul tip right on the hand. Now, he's not hiding that hand behind the glove. A lot of times when there's not a runner on base, catchers put your hand away. You don't need to hold it there.
Got him that time. Leiter struck out 162 last year,
number 19,
and he's got one for the year 2000.
Well, here's a great look at the strikeout. Now, watch Piazza's offhand, though. I want you to look at that. He's hiding it behind the glove. This time it's protected. Right there, a nice little fastball down the middle of the plate. The pitch before set that up because he had Jackson looking at that cutter.
2 down, nobody on, and here is Tony Gwynn. And he fouls it back. No question about the Hall of Fame for this man. 8 batting titles, 15-time All-Star, 338 average last year, 17th consecutive season that he has hit 300 or better.
Can't do that wiffle ball in the backyard. I mean, that's
with
amazing.
Nobody playing D.
I'm telling you.
That is
something
unbelievable.
Else. Well, Tony's so consistent, and that's why he has had such great averages. But we hear consistent all the time, but he's had the same stance since I've known him when he was 19 years old. He hasn't changed. He makes minor adjustments from there, and that's why he's able to be consistent.
And Leiter's pitch to left field. Henderson started in. Now we'll back up and get there. So a good start for Al Leiter and the Mets, even if Piazza did take the bruise. Gwynn retired. 3 down, Mets coming up. Mike Piazza caught the 3rd most innings in the majors last year for a catcher, and he went back after that first half inning of this year, and Fred Hina, the trainer, came over and took a look at that hand. That's where he got caught right around the knuckles.
Yeah, he got that foul tip. Now, Gary, you know, you were talking about, we'll look at the Mets lineup here and come back and talk about Mike in a second, but 3rd most amount of games caught. That's where they're going to have to work Todd Pratt into the game, give him a little blow every now and then.
It'll really wear you out in that position. There are the New York Mets, who had a great finish last year and added all kinds of excitement to the end of the season. And Darrell Hamilton not in today. Todd Zeile, of course, making the start at first base. The new addition over there has got to have some butterflies going, joining the best infield in the game. They've added Mike Hampton, the 22-game winner in the deal, and took a loss. Had a wild outing in Tokyo, in fact, in his first start for the Mets. There you see the Mets lineup: Henderson, Bell, and Alfonso, Piazza, Zeile, Robin Ventura, Mora in center today, Ordonez and Al Leiter. And as we said, a battle of lefties. Sterling Hitchcock, 28-year-old left-hander, who went 12 and 14 last year, delivers his first pitch, and it's up high to Ricky Henderson.
Well, Sterling Hitchcock's a guy who's going to throw a fastball. He's going to set everything up to get to the split that's going to break away from the right-hander and down into a left-handed hitter.
He was among the leaders in strikeouts last year, 6th in the league. Ricky Henderson was #1 in on-base percentage for a leadoff batter. That's why the Mets got him, and he had a magnificent year. Really unexpected. Inside corner strike, and he didn't like it.
Well, that's what Hitchcock will get you to do as a hitter. He'll have you looking outside because you're going to look for that deadpan changeup. Right there, you got Ricky looking outside and busted him in with the fastball.
Henderson down on the count, a ball and 2 strikes here in the bottom half of the first inning. And that one off the fists, just getting out of the way on it, 1 and 2.
He busted him in right there. Call that fighting it off. Just try to keep yourself alive.
Well, Ricky, as we said, will keep the controversy going. I don't think the Mets, though, are really going to move on the contract. If they're not going to do it for their manager and their GM, it's not likely they're going to do it for a player during the season when they've already said they won't. 1-2. Henderson took it inside. 2 ball, 2 strike count.
Well, the tough thing for Ricky is that he's 41 years old. Even as great as he is, he's still 41, is getting up there, and it's tough to extend a contract for a 41-year-old ball player. That's just the economics of the ball game.
2-2 delivery, and he got him, and he knew it. Boy, there was that setup you were talking about, Harold.
Well, he got him looking inside, and then right there, that's the pitch that Sterling was setting up, that changeup to get him.
Derek Bell.
Get a good look at the Padre defense right here. And really the key guys are up the middle, Boone and Jackson. Rivera, you know, he hasn't lived up to the potential yet, but this guy's got superstar ability. He's got great range and an arm, so they've got a nice solid middle.
Hitchcock will work to Derek Bell, who hit just .222 last year in a disappointing season in Houston. He came over in the deal with Mike Hampton. .236 the numbers. He's hitting .222 right now. 12 home runs, 66 RBIs. Number of injuries that bothered him throughout the year, and the Mets expect his numbers will be better than that.
I think they will too. Here's a guy who has a great approach, a lot like Tony Gwynn. He hasn't changed his swing a whole lot, so therefore you have a lot of consistency. Last year he was banged up, and that's why the numbers varied so much.
Huge difference in that average. Bell can come through and right. It will fill a hole the Mets have had for a while, as they have moved people around in right field. No swing on that one. 2-1.
Well, it's interesting, Gary, that they put him in the 2 spot. That's where he liked to hit when he was in Houston. He wedged himself in between Biggio and Bagwell, and it was a great spot for him. I think he'll fit here. They've moved Alfonso to 3rd in the lineup, and it'd be interesting to see how he handles that adjustment from 2nd to 3rd.
You saw Benny Agbayani on the bench, the man who had the grand slam in Tokyo and the Mets win over the Cubs in Game 2. Benny Agbayani made the roster, and that is a real surprise for opening day. He was earmarked to be sent down. That grand slam may have been the difference between AAA and the majors to start the year. And a walk given up. Hitchcock puts a man on. Let's check in with Bill Pito. Bill.
All right, Gary, the Brewers and the Reds. Milwaukee starting pitcher Steve Woodard won 10 games in the first half last year from Milwaukee, but today in the bottom of the first, Barry Larkin all the way to the wall. That scores Pokey Reese. So the Reds are up by the score of 1-0, and then Ken Griffey Jr., his first at bat in a Cincinnati uniform, and with a runner on second, a hit-and-run situation, he pops out. 1-0 Reds. Gary, back to you.
Big story, obviously, as Ken Griffey Jr. back in Cincinnati with his dad as a coach and the fans going wild about it. Edgardo Alfonso up in an inside corner strike.
Yeah, it's exciting. This is going to be a great year for baseball. It's just a lot of great moves in the offseason, excitement, and for good reason. I think the teams are very equal. It's going to be a great race throughout the whole summer for everybody. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Alfonso had a 2 for 6 against the Cubs in Tokyo. Bell's on at first base. The 0-1 delivery. Alfonso, a real fine hit and run man. Bobby Valentine wants to do that. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And Sterling Hitchcock's got a great move. He will freeze the runner. He'll sit there, give you a nice look, and come over. And he also has a snap throw to keep the runner close. So this is a type of pitcher that you do actually try to hit and run on, because you're not going to get a great jump for a straight steal.
Edgardo Alfonzo played up the middle. Boone moved over to second. There's that quick throw over to first base. Not a big lead. See, Edgardo Alfonzo last year just went 5 for 43 when he wasn't hitting in the number 2 spot. With Bell hitting 2, Valentine has moved him to 3 this year. See whether or not those numbers hold up. Mets and Alfonzo hope not. Towering pop-up behind the mound. Jackson, the shortstop. Plenty of time to put it away, and Alfonso's retired, 2 down. Fonzie out of there for the second out. Piazza will get the big hand.
Number 31, Mike Piazza.
Piazza's already put up a home run this season, as he picked one up in the first game against the Cubs in Tokyo in a losing 5-3 cause. Mets, of course, came back in extra innings to win in Game 2 in Tokyo on the Grand Slam home run by Agbayani. His career numbers are beginning to look startlingly good.
Well, this guy is just a tremendous hitter. The adjustment he made the last couple of years, he started to pull the ball. You saw the home run in Japan earlier this year to right center field. Is really his natural stroke. When he first started with the Dodgers, he hit so many opposite field home runs, and he's made the adjustment now where he's starting to use the whole ballpark. And when you do that, your average is going to continue to rise, and he's just a great hitter.
And great power all around. 7 seasons. He's hitting .330 with 239 home runs in those 7 years. Those are big-time numbers. And Piazza puts that one to right field. Tony Gwynn will have room. And takes it on the warning track. You know, we told you, you can drive it the other way, and he did there. No runs, no hits, and a base runner left on after 1. Obviously, sellout crowd on hand here today at Shea Stadium for this opener for the Mets. Day off tomorrow, and that's in case this one was to have been rained out. Doesn't look like that is going to happen here, however.
It's Kevin Towers right there in the middle, a Padres general manager from Medford, Oregon. We used to play high school football against each other. We go way back.
Oregon.
There you go.
Whoa.
I was from Corvallis, and he was at Medford. Give him a little plug there.
Bill Nevin. Let me guess, you were a tailback and probably a safety.
Well, wide receiver, tailback, safety. I did it all.
Yeah. Okay. I knew you did. I knew that anyway.
I played a Dion type of football. I didn't want to touch anybody.
It's called baseball.
There you go.
A 2-0 count on Nevin. Leiter had strikes in the first 3 batters he faced and got ahead on the count against all 3 in that first inning. Phil Nevin has earned the spot at third base. Won it last year, and the Padres are going to be ahead. Deep to left field. Goodbye, home run, Phil Nevin. A shot into the bleachers. Phil Leiter and the Padres have a 1-0 lead.
Well, I was just going to say, Phil Nevin last year got a chance to settle in and earn a job. He's been all over. Detroit had him, and then Anaheim had him as a catcher. He's finally back at third base. He was a college player of the year back at Cal State Fullerton. He's playing his natural position at third base. And something to say about leaving a guy alone. Look at this swing right here. He jumps all over this fastball, Gary.
And that was nailed, huh?
He crushed it.
That had that beautiful sound of solid wood. And the pitch taken inside, so the Padres' first hit of the season is a home run by Phil Nevin, and they are up 1-0. Phil Nevin is now 5 for 9 lifetime off Al Leiter. Leiter gave up 19 home runs last year, and 17 of those were to right-handed batters, as you might expect, and it was a right-hander who got one off him right there. And boy, there was no question over the 371 mark here at Shea Stadium. Ryan Klesko got a big roaring boo when he was introduced prior to today's game. Anything associated with the Atlanta Braves that comes to Shea Stadium gets a rip-roaring round of boos.
I'm telling you, there's a serious rivalry there. It doesn't matter. You played for the Braves. That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. Brett Boone got the same thing. Down to first. First play is met at first. Zeal. He'll take it there himself and beats Klesko, and there's one away. And let's check in with Bill Pino again. Bill.
All right, Gary, thanks. Over on ESPN, the Brewers and the Reds. Dimitri Young got to start at first today because of the injury to Sean Casey. He hit .314 last year against righties. Comes through there, driving in Barry Larkin. And the Reds right now lead Milwaukee by the score of 2-0 in the top of the second.
So there's the first play for the first baseman. He gets that out of the way.
Well, he got that out of the way, but that's what I was talking about, Gary. See how far away he was from the base.
And can decide whether to flip or go.
Absolutely. Those are the adjustments he'll have to make.
And here is Brett Boone, the other former Atlanta Brave we were talking about.
Well, here's a good look at it. And see how far he is from the base right here. This is a situation you flip it to the pitcher. He's caught in between, so he decides to foot race. He beats Klesko to the bag, but those are the little simple things he's got to make the adjustment on.
There's Leiter's first broken bat. Ray Ordonez will go back and haul it in. Boone's retired. Leiter can chop off literally 5 or 6 bats a game if he's pitching well and gets that inside pitch to right-handers.
Well, that cut fastball is not a slider. A slider is a ball where you can read the seams. A cutter, all of a sudden it looks like a fastball and it darts in on your hands. That's why you're able to break so many bats and get inside on hitters. And that's Al Leiter's primary pitch, is that cut fastball, the last second break on the pitch.
His game high in broken bats last year were 6.
Ouch.
6 in one game.
Oh, that Black & Decker ball.
Whoa, just sawed him off. Because that cutter looks like it's going to come in over the middle of the plate. You start your swing, and then the next thing you know, it's right on your top hand. Here's Rivera. A run in on the Nevin home run. Foul back. 26 years old, out of Panama. The one thing he's trying to do is cut down on that swing you just saw. This guy just rocks back and loves to just rip on every cut. So you get a 195 average and 23 home runs.
Yeah, he's got to put the ball in play a little bit more than that.
Under Leiter's glove, Ray Ordonez, nope, and bobbled Alfonso. Have to wait for the call on that one. Ordonez thought about cutting that off, but realized he wasn't going to get there.
And that's the new side you were talking about. You know, so often you got to learn the field you're playing on. And they just got caught in between right there. I thought Ordonez was going to cut Edgardo off and go get that ball also.
And Ordonez coming that close to him. They're going to call that an error. Ouch. So Rivera reaches on an error to this infield that committed so few last year. And Edgardo Alfonso, just 5 errors all year last year, is charged with 1 here in first game at home. Chopper down to third. Ventura on the Carlos Hernandez ground ball will make the play, and that'll do it. But a run, a hit, an error, base runner left on. It was Phil Nevin off Leiter for the Padres, driving into the pavilion and left for a 1-0 Padre lead. Padres leading here in the opening day for the Padres in Game 3 for the Mets. And a reminder, coming up 4 o'clock, ESPN2, the new-look Colorado Rockies. They open the season in Atlanta. An emotional return for Andres Galarraga, the Braves. On ESPN, Chicago Cubs, Sammy Sosa, Cardinals, and McGuire. Need we say more? Later tonight, 2-time defending champion Yankees. Mo Vaughn and the Anaheim Angels, the opposition. Major League Baseball on ESPN and now regularly on ESPN2. I love New York. It's actually kind of humid here today. It's with the rain that's moving in. It's got kind of that damp, cool feel. I don't know if those bandanas were given out today or if those are from a previous day's collection.
I mean, that is, I'm sitting back. I am a Met fan. You know, that's what
that's right.
That right there is a signature of it.
You're going to know that right away.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And don't say otherwise. Todd Zeal. Todd's 1 for 7 so far on the season. 293 in 156 games. Just too shy of the 100 RBI mark. Fouls that one off the fists, and Hitchcock ahead on the 0-2 count.
This is an interesting matchup because Zeal likes the ball inside, and Hitchcock, we've seen him set up hitters on the inside and then try to go back outside to get that out.
0-2 delivery to him. Bounce that one out in front. It's one of the reasons Hitchcock does not want people on base. No pitcher does. But Hitchcock can be very wild. He had 15 wild pitches last year, tied for most in the National League. Sometimes when he's throwing that splitter of his, it'll bounce all over the place. And Bruce Bochy does a lot of walking when Hitchcock has guys on base in a game, fearing they're going to move up with that free pass wild pitch. Todd Zeile, he's got a base hit down the line. So he opens up at home with a shot. Al Martin over. Zeile will go into second base with a double.
Well, that's what I'm talking about, Gary. He got a fastball in. Hitchcock tried to throw a little cutter on the inside half instead of going back out. And you were just mentioning the splitter. That's his out pitch. He didn't go to it. He had him set up 1-2. The beauty of baseball, you're always, you know, the ins and outs. I love that part of the game, little cat and mouse. Right here. Here comes a little cutter on the inside half, and Zeile, nice short stroke. Just catches it, drives it right down the line for a double. But he got the ball inside. That was his strength.
41 doubles last year. There's the Mets' first hit at home this year as Martin got it back in. Zeile is on at second base, and here is Robin Ventura. Ventura's looking for his first hit of the year. He had an 0 for 9 in the Cubs games in Tokyo. And that pitch to him misses inside.
Now this is interesting because Ventura is 0 for 9. He's looking for that first hit, but he's got an obligation to get the runner over. So sometimes you have to give up an at-bat to play team baseball. So he may end up 0 for 10, but he's done his job, and that doesn't show up sometimes in numbers.
And if anybody will do it for the team, Robin Ventura is certainly one who will. 1-0 delivery to him, and he puts that one to left center field. Rivera going back. Zeile tags but will not go. Ventura.
The center fielder.
He is out of there. Last year, the New York Mets ending to a season. Oh my gosh. Robin Ventura, October 17, 99. You see the team coming off the field because Robin Ventura had driven it out. Should have been a grand slam. Everybody came out on the field. He never got around. It was the first grand single in baseball history.
Todd Pratt, I would have been fighting Todd off going, Todd, what are you doing? I got to have that grand slam.
And he didn't get the runner moved up there either.
That was a good swing, though. He got a pitch outside. It looked like he tried to hook it, but he hit the ball well, but no result.
Here's Mel Mora, runner at second base. Mora almost made the Mets last season. He had a great spring training, but because of the option situations, he's the one who got sent down. Ended up being called up last year a couple of times. Had another great finish to the regular season and a magnificent playoff year for the Mets. And this year, here he is. 0-1 delivered. Mora's a Valentine kind of player, Harold. He's a driven guy every day, down in the dirt, work hard, do whatever you got to do to make a team, to help the club. Valentine loves Todd Pratt's that kind of a player.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And you can tell he rewarded him today by playing him. That, you know, sometimes a manager, when he falls in love with you, it's a great thing for a player. Not sometimes, all the time. It's great to have a manager who likes you.
Mora's got an 0-2 count, and Hitchcock's up high to him with a runner at second and 1 out. Todd Pratt's the same kind of guy. Never complains. Takes his bench role as the backup catcher seriously. Every time, seemingly, over the last 3 years when he's come in to play for Piazza, he's delivered.
Yeah, some guys have a way of getting themselves prepared to play, and Todd Pratt's one of those guys. That's one of the toughest roles in all of baseball, not knowing when you're going to be in the lineup.
That one down and in is popped up to shallow left center. Jackson, the shortstop, is called off by Rivera, and that's the way it should be done, and there are 2 down. Again, let's check in with Bill Pito. Bill.
All right, Gary, thank you. Over on ESPN, the Brewers and the Reds. Cincinnati got 2 runs in the first, and now they have another one here in the second. Michael Tucker, a solo home run. The Reds now lead at 3-0. Still playing bottom 2.
It's going to sell a few more tickets in Cincinnati.
Oh, yeah. You know, they got such a versatile lineup. You know, Sean Casey goes down. He's put on the 15-day DL, and they moved Dimitri Young to first and put Michael Tucker in the lineup, and Tucker delivers. You know, you got to have depth. It's a long summer, and the Reds have a lot of depth on that team.
Ray Ordonez now. The Mets got the leadoff double from Zeile. He is still out there. And Ordonez, who's 1 for 6 on the year, stands in against Sterling Hitchcock with an RBI chance. Ray Ordonez, a bit of a controversy early in spring training with Bobby Valentine. Valentine made public statements about how he wanted Ordonez to be a better extra base hitter, to drive the ball a little harder. A lot of people said, well, can Ray Ordonez really do that? Valentine said, I think he can. We'll see. Bounced in the dirt. Good stop by Hernandez.
What's interesting, because now Ray has to make an adjustment, because his whole career he's been told hit the ball on the ground, get some base hits. And now all of a sudden you're told to change your game and hit the ball in the air and with power, so you end up being confused. And that's tough to adjust in 6 weeks' time in spring training to make that kind of change. And then they got to make sure they don't penalize him for hitting pop flies. That's what you're asked to do.
And he will do that because he does not have home run power. 1-1 delivery to him. And that one misses down low. 2 ball, 1 strike count.
You have to know your strengths as a player, and that's what's going to get you there and then keep you in the big leagues. And Ray Ordonez is not a guy who's going to hit home runs. He's going to, like you said, he's going to hit a lot of warning track poppers.
So that's why they wanted him to hit the ball on the ground. Or obviously, he'd love to be a line drive hitter. Who wouldn't? That one foul back. Evens the count up, 2 balls, 2 strikes. He hit 263 with runners in scoring position last year. Not bad, which is why he accumulated really an inordinate number of RBIs, 60 of them, with runners in scoring position, for an average that wouldn't look like it would have produced as many as it did.
Well, I think the 8th spot in the National League is the toughest place in baseball to hit, because you have that pitcher hitting behind you. And here's a situation, he's got a base open, 2 outs, he's not going to get much to hit.
He went after that one to center field. Rivera, who is playing very shallow, will get there, and it's a Rivera inning. So a leadoff double by Todd Zeile does not result in a run. Padres still up 1-0.
Major League Baseball opening day on ESPN2 is brought to you by J.P. Morgan and by Labor Ready. Dependable, temporary labor. What do you need done?
Gary Thorne, Harold Reynolds, and our crew. Opening day, Major League Baseball. And here at Shea Stadium, the Padres on the Nevin home run have the 1-0 lead. Al Leiter going back to work, and Sterling Hitchcock is the man who will stand in at the plate. The 2 left-handers matching up against one another here in this opener at Shea. For Hitchcock, 5 hits, 61 at-bats, 34 strikeouts. Pitcher's kind of numbers at the plate.
Yeah, they get a chance to hack. They love that, though. I mean, you've been around the cage when they have the little hitting challenges and everything else. They talk more trash than anybody in the game.
Biggest part of their day is batting practice for pitchers. That one off Piazza, I think. And a 1 ball, 2 strike count. Sterling Hitchcock, the starter, 28 years old, 12-14 last year. 3 outings against the Mets and had 1 loss against New York last year. Leiter misses high and inside. 2 ball, 2 strike count on Hitchcock. Each team with just 1 hit. But Nevins was out of the yard off Leiter. 2-2 to Hitchcock. And a chopper. Zeile started. Will get back. Alfonso will make the flip. And again, Todd Zeile had to move a little bit there to figure out what he was doing. Al Leiter, spring training. Sandy Koufax came to help.
20, Al Martin.
Sandy's pretty big and trying to get it through my thick head that, you know, it's important that you work. He thinks, you know, working away to come in is better than what I do, which is basically I like to throw inside on the righty and then go away. So, you know, I've been working a lot more on sinking the ball away, change-ups, and this spring it worked quite well. I know that I have to throw more balls on the outer part of the plate so guys don't keep looking on the inside.
So there you go. That's what Harold was talking about. Al Martin takes a wild cut. 1 strike count on Martin. The only thing sometimes that is said to Al is that sometimes he almost overthinks the game and gets himself into such a mental turmoil about what he's doing instead of just going out throwing his stuff, good stuff, whatever he's got working that day, that sometimes he may be his own worst enemy.
Yeah, and we both got a chance to talk to Mike Piazza quite a bit, and that's why Mike is so great for Al, because he'll go out there and appease him. Sometimes you have to appease Al. He'll say, hey, they got my signs, I got hit it hard. And he'll go, okay, I'll change them. You know, different things to mix it up.
They got him reaching on that one. 2 strikeouts for Leiter in the game. Martin's 0 for 2.
The shortstop, number 2, Jermaine Jackson.
Well, he did a nice job of moving the ball in and out. Here's a pitch sequence right here. Here's Al Martin, the first pitch. A little cutter away from the lefty. Then he comes back in with a breaking pitch. And then here's the pitch that put him away. Yeah, that was a breaking pitch. See how quick that was?
That was amazing.
It was.
I almost didn't see that.
It was so good. There it was.
Damon Jackson.
So that was how he got him out, though. He did a great job of moving it in and out, and that's why Al's been effective. The one home run he gave up today was a 2-0 fastball to Nevin. Got behind.
Jackson, the other strikeout victim in his first time up, fouls that one off by the Mets dugout, and that'll be a souvenir. And a 1-1 strikeout.
And here's that sneaky last pitch to Al Martin that we were joking about, but here it is. And here's the third pitch to put him away, a little cutter away, a little curveball away. Great pitch sequence for Leiter. But you got to mix it up because these hitters are going to eventually sit on something and they'll get it. They'll kill you.
Al Leiter, 3-2 lifetime against the San Diego Padres. Looking for his 91st career win here today. 2-1 strike count. Kind of odd the way this has gone. If it's an even year, pretty good. Real good numbers. The odd years, yeah, not quite as good, including 13 and 12 last year. So his 2000-ish year follows that pattern. It is Rickey Henderson, Atom ball. Jackson out of there.
Rickey got a great jump on that ball right there.
Real good inning for Leiter. He got it done in a hurry. 1-2-3. Bottom of the third coming up. Padres lead. Met fans justifiably excited about their season. They were 97 and 66 last year. Finished 6.5 behind the Atlanta Braves. Everybody expects them to be chasing the Braves again this year. And they certainly are awaiting the return of Mr. Rocker to New York City.
Yeah, that's going to be real interesting. Scary.
Ugly. Pitcher against pitcher. Here is Al Leiter. Leiter, a 103 career batting average, 105 last year. Did pick up five RBIs on 6 hits last season, and even scored a run last year. Sterling Hitchcock with a 1-1 strike count has given up the double to Todd Zeile, who was stranded. Didn't go around on that one, and it's a 2-1 count on Al Leiter. San Diego Padres last year, 74 and 88, 26 games out for a Padres team. Went to the World Series a couple of years ago and then traded away a lot of big-time stars and now are rebuilding, as so many teams do nowadays. And you got a new stadium in your future, and San Diego does. A couple of years, hopefully, it'll be ready. You try and build towards that opening. Everybody sees what happens when you put a new ballpark up. You look at San Francisco, you look at what's going on in Detroit, the new yards, what's happened in Baltimore, just generate enormous interest in ticket sales.
And the ballparks are beautiful. They're just they're an attraction in itself.
Tower, their GM, owner, ship hoping it'll all work. Leiter is a strikeout victim. And for the New York Mets, Bobby Valentine talking about some of the new faces and the old hands and what it's going to take to get to the top.
You know, you can have as many individuals as you want, but until they learn to play together, until you see how they perform against the competition, you really don't know how good the team is. And this is a very good collection of individual talent, and it's our job to come together as a team as this season progresses.
That's the job. It began in Tokyo. Now continues here, and hopefully this will not be a wedge in that attempt. Rickey Henderson with that contract matter we've been talking about. 0-1 delivery to him. Henderson, who was a strikeout victim his first time up, is now 1 for 8 on the year.
Well, and also part of what Bobby was saying was, as a player, it's important to have a consistent lineup too, because you learn the tendencies of the guys that you're hitting around in the order. Particularly when you have a guy like Rickey Henderson, who will steal a base at any time, at any count. As a second hitter or the third hitter, in this case Bell or Alfonso, you have to understand, okay, I'm going to take a pitch this situation because Rickey might be running. You get a feel for it, so that comes with time.
That one drilled but foul. And there are, in that regard, Harold, the Mets really have a lot of changes. I mean, you've got Bell batting second now, so Alfonso goes down to third. Zeile moves in the number 5 hole with John Olerud, who used to bat 3, gone. Mora making the starting lineup today with bat 7th. If you got Darrell Hamilton playing, is Hamilton going to hit up top or down bottom in this lineup?
And that changes how Piazza's pitched throughout the whole lineup, because now he's protected totally different.
Yep. So that's going to vary for the Mets here. depending on who they start in center. And for Piazza, Zeal hopefully will have a big year to protect him in that lineup. He had John Olerud in front of him. Now Zeal behind him with Alfonso in front of him. Valentine will balance that as it goes along. Down to third. Nevin knocked it down and gets the out. Anderson, the second out of the inning.
Well, it's early in the season, and it's definitely contract because Ricky was flying down the line.
right fielder,
He hit that ball hard. Midsummer, you might see him start to jog a little bit. Right there, he was getting down the line, putting some pressure on the third baseman. Watch Nevin not panic. That's the key. He knows where the ball's at, knows who's running, took his time, found the ball, and threw a strike to first.
Gets the out. Bill Nevin anchored at third base. That's his job now. Took a while for that high prospect, high draft choice to get here as a major leaguer, but he's here. 2 away, and Derek Bell at the plate. Bell drew a walk his first time up. Hitchcock has walked 1 and struck out 2. And Bell 2 for 9 so far on the year. Both these pitchers starting out in great form. Both seem to have great control and throwing a lot of strikes. 1 ball, 1 strike count from Hitchcock.
Yeah, and it's so early in the year. Obviously, with the first game, they're probably both on pitch count, so we may not see this into the 6th and 7th inning. They might be out of there before that, but you're right, Gary. They've been excellent so far.
Bell will take that pitch, and it just missed outside. He's around the plate all the time, though. 2-1 the count.
A lot of times when you know you're only going to pitch 5 innings or 4 or 5 innings or 100 pitches or something like that, it's a lot easier to be focused for a short period of time.
Don't have to pace yourself so much. That one off the fist to short will be hauled in by Jackson. So 1, 2, 3 innings, 6 in a row now have been retired by Sterling Hitchcock, and we've completed 3 at Shea Stadium. Tony Gwynn will be coming up when we come back. The Nevin home run is still holding up.
Some early photos of baseball's
Leiter ready to go to work for the Mets as we go to the 4th inning, and Tony Gwynn leads it off. Fly to left his first time up and gets hit. Ooh, on the elbow. Tony Gwynn hit by Leiter. That'll bring Bruce Bochy out in a hurry.
Well, talking with Tony before the game, he said, you know, the one thing Al has been doing with me the last couple of years, he's moving in and out. Last time he lined the ball left field at that, jumped off the bat real well. Ricky Henderson actually thought it was going to go a little bit deeper than it did, and then Leiter busted him inside. So Leiter understands that. Tony Gwynn knows what he's trying to do too, so that's why you don't have a confrontation. It's just a ball that got in on him. He's okay. He's smiling now.
Oh, it's stung a little bit.
Well, here it is. Here's a fastball. Catcher setting up on the inside. And this ball just never got a chance to get back to the plate. I don't care. You get hit anywhere, it hurts.
Guaranteed. Around that elbow, it becomes rather dangerous.
The amazing things, you see how quick Tony picked that up, though? He has got such great eyes. Before that ball left, he was already dropping his bat, getting out of the way, but the ball happened to be behind him, and he jumped into it. But just great concentration. He picked that ball up so quick he knew he was getting hit.
He got hit twice last year. It's the 24th time in his career. Just 24 times to be hit by a pitch. So the leadoff man is on, and Nevin, who had the home run against Leiter, takes the pitch inside. 1 ball, 1 strike count. Nevin drilled one to left field. Put the Padres on top. Only the second leadoff batter in the game to be on base, and the first for Bruce Bochy, San Diego Padres. He's still looking out there at Gwynn to make sure he's all right. 1 ball, 1 strike count. That one's going to be ripped into left field for a base hit. Anderson will get it back in. 2 on, nobody out. Let's check in with Bill Pito. Bill.
All right, Gary, over on ESPN, the Brewers and the Reds, 1 run already in from Milwaukee here in the 3rd. Jeff Jenkins to right. Dante Bichette bobbles it and then misses the cutoff man. That allows Jeremy Burnitz to come in to score. It's now 3-2. Reds up by 1, top 3.
Good ball game there, and the offense going pretty good in that game. Ryan Klesko coming up, 2 on, nobody out. And Leiter has now given up just 2 hits, and they've both been to Nevin with a home run and a single.
We'll see what Klesko does up here against Leiter, see how he pitches him. It's interesting because Ryan said one of the things I'm going to do against left-handed pitchers is see what happens with Tony Gwynn and try to make the adjustments. Well, don't get hit.
Don't get hit. Don't want that. Klesko takes it outside for a ball. Klesko is 2 for 6 lifetime against Leiter. And as we noted at the top, Klesko just a 102 hitter against left-handers last year. He went 5 for 49 with 1 home run off southpaws. So if Klesko, as Harold mentioned, is going to play every day, he's got to find a way to get some hits against him. Tony Gwynn looking in from second base, the lead runner with Nevin on at first, still nobody out. That's infield at double play depth. And a strike to Klesko, 1-1.
Well, you figure 49 at-bats over the course of a whole season is not very many opportunities to make adjustments, and those are probably sparingly. They've handpicked the lefty that he would face. Now, when you get a chance to play every day, you're working on that adjustment. I think he'll be a lot better off.
Wild swing on that one. 1 ball, 2 strike count. Pitch well outside the strike zone as he turned around to ask the home plate umpire where it was.
Well, he got him with a cutter that kept running on him, and now Leiter's got him really set up to throw either the slider or that cutter, and got a chance to really strike him out here.
And does. 3rd strikeout for Al Leiter.
See, that second strike was a big strike because he totally confused Klesko as to his pattern. Now he had no idea what might come when he had 2 strikes. And here it is. This is a fastball. He just threw it by him. Just didn't catch up to it.
Klesko will do that a few times in the course of the year with that big cut he takes. 1 down. Leiter working with runners at first and second here in the 4th inning, and Brett Boone. And inside to him around the fists. Ball 1 count on Boone.
Well, here's the versatility that Brett Boone brings to a lineup, is the fact that with the Braves he hit 1 and 2 in their lineup, and now here he is hitting 5th today with the Padres. So he can hit, or 6th I should say, so he can hit a lot of different spots in your lineup.
He has struggled against Leiter. Boone just 3 for 25 lifetime off this left-hander. Boone's got the RBI chance here with the Padres leading 1-0. Piazza going through a number of signs with Tony Gwynn looking in behind second base. And again, way inside to him, 2-0. Bear in mind, on a base hit, Tony Gwynn is not exceptionally fast as a runner. He's out there at second base. There's Tony. Well, he'd have to hustle around on a base hit to get in. Mets have some decent arms in the outfield. Henderson's good. Mora's got a strong arm, and Bell a better than average arm, if a bit wild. And another one. 3 consecutive pitches way inside, 3-0.
And 3 cutters. This is a situation here where you might see Piazza hop up and go talk to Leiter because you get brain locked. All of a sudden you start throwing the same thing and the same result. You have to shake it up and mix him up a little bit. He's trying to get that ground ball. That's why he keeps throwing that little low cutter.
3-0 count. See if he's taking. Strike on the outside corner that time. See Piazza looking over to the bench each time. He's not getting the sign for the pitch, but he is getting any sign as to whether or not they want Al Leiter to throw to a bag or step off. That comes from the bench. Pitch selection is made by Piazza and Leiter, however. 3-1 delivery. Fouled off, so Leiter comes back on him to take it full.
Well, this is interesting right here because Tony Gwynn used to be a base stealer. I would think they still might send him in this situation, even though he doesn't run a whole lot. But you got Brett Boone, who does strike out quite a bit. He has a tendency to take a big hack. So Bochy is going to dictate what kind of game we're going to expect the rest of the way out right here on this 3-2 pitch.
Already up to 50 pitches here in the 4th inning. Bruce Bochy, leaning and looking, has made his decision. 3-2, 1 down. Runners on at first and second base. Brett Boone, numbers with runners in scoring position last year. Runners do go, and a pop-up to left field with Ricky Henderson under. And he'll haul it in. Leiter came back inside. The runners will have to go back, and now there are 2 down. So Leiter's got a chance after giving up the hit batter Gwynn and the single to Nevin, a chance to get out of this if he can get the 3rd out right here.
Here's Boone. He just missed this ball. So fastball inside starts to tell. I mean, he just missed it. He knows it too because he was right on that ball. It doesn't take much to miss it. Just a little tweak of pulling your head off a little bit or whatever, and that's what happened with Booney. He's still a little frustrated. He got a pitch he felt like he should have made this a 4-0 ball game.
Both teams have had chances, and the opposing pitcher shut them down. And that one grounded towards short. Ray Ordonez will go to first. That will retire Rivera and the Padres. So San Diego got their first 2 base runners on against Leiter and could not convert. No run, a hit, and 2 left on. Still 1-0 San Diego. More baseball action coming to you on ESPN tomorrow night. Pedro Martinez, Nomar Garcia-Pera, and the Red Sox will visit Safeco Field in Seattle. Alex Rodriguez and the Mariners open the season for the first time since '89 without Ken Griffey Jr. It'll be Miller Morgan nationwide tomorrow, 8 o'clock. Great to have you with us here at Shea Stadium. Overcast day. Comfortable, though, for baseball. And a 1-0 Padre lead on the Phil Nevin home run. There's been a pitcher's duel so far. Leiter hasn't walked anybody and has struck out 3. Came back to get the side out after the first 2 were on in the last inning. Sterling Hitchcock, a walk and 2 strikeouts. Padres 1-2-0, and the Mets have picked up a hit on the Zeal double. Edgardo Alfonzo leads it off. Popped out his first time up, 2 for 7 on the year. He's 4 for 15 with a home run lifetime off Sterling Hitchcock. And he's ahead on the count here, 2 balls and no strikes.
Well, Sterling Hitchcock the other day, a couple days ago, they were playing an exhibition game in Anaheim against the Angels, and Mo Vaughn hit a line drive during batting practice off his leg. And they weren't sure if he was going to be able to go today, and actually he's back out there going. Another thing that happened with that, he was supposed to be possibly traded to the Cleveland Indians for Jarrett Wright. And the trade was kind of stalled because of this whole situation.
So here he is. Edgardo Alfonzo lifts that to right. Tony Gwynn. Alfonzo 0 for 2, and this one away in the Mets half of the 4th inning.
The catcher, number 31, Mike Piazza.
That'll bring Piazza up. He flied out to right deep his first time at bat.
They got a changeup that was going down and away from him. He stayed with it, just missed it, took Gwynn to the warning track.
2 for 10 on the year with that home run against the Cubs. Obviously, the home runs continue to be the big story in Major League Baseball. This is one of the guys, as we said, who can hit them with the best of them. McGuire, Sosa, Griffey. That one bounced in the dirt. We mentioned that in 7 full seasons, he's hit .330 and .239. Worthy of noting, this guy drives the ball the other way even when he's in another country. That in Tokyo. 2-run homer that brought the Mets to within 2 in that game, but they would ultimately lose it by that score of 5-3. And that's on the inside corner, 1-1. Only Jimmy Fox has put up the numbers over a 7-year span that Piazza's done in the last 7 years. And Fox did it 60 years ago when we're talking about home runs and batting average. Wow. And the first catcher to have the 40 home runs in a season twice.
It's a great number, particularly with Mike, because he gets beat up so much. He's such a big physical presence at 6'2". You put him down there behind the plate, big target. That's why he gets a lot of foul tips and everything else, and be able to come back and play as much as he does.
141 games last year. 3-ball, 2-strike count with 1 away. It's not midsummer yet. I wonder if he's got a good enough aim. My guess is if the ball started coming towards that guy, he'd stand right there.
It's creative, I tell you.
3-2 delivery way out in front. Nice off-speed delivery, and Piazza took a second look out at Hitchcock after that, and there's a third look. Like, what was that?
The best pitch in baseball, that's what that was, a changeup, particularly early in the season, because the hitter, the first reaction you get is a fastball look. You think it's a fastball, and then the ball dies on you. And look at how far out in front Piazza is on that one. He ends up going with a little Riniac hack on that ball. He got him out front so much.
Helicopter finish. So now that Piazza's done, he'll cover up the target and wait for his next at-bat. 2 down. So Hitchcock has now struck out 3. 2 away here in the 4th inning. Todd Zeile, the only hit, a double off Hitchcock. Batters went 254 off Hitchcock last year, 11th best in the National League, and not much difference right or left-handers. 253, 254.
Well, Zeile last time got a fastball inside and pulled it for a double. Right, that last pitch, you saw Hitchcock throw a sinker away, going back outside again. So I think he learned his lesson. He's not going to try to bust him inside too much.
'28-year-old lefty. Zeile's gone 4 for 7 off him. Carlos Hernandez laying down the sign to come back in, and he did. 2-2. Olerud gone. Zeile at first.
Not a big difference there. I mean, you look at the average, there's a difference, but home runs and RBIs not big, but I think the biggest difference is defensively. You know, Olerud brought so much, and on-base percentage was a pretty big difference too, but Olerud brought so much of a presence to the defense as an infielder. When you have a first baseman who's a steady target, it allows you to be more creative. You don't worry about having to throw every ball on line. You can be a little bouncy ball, everything else, and Olerud was great at picking them up. Got him with the changeup.
Hitchcock is really rolling. 2 strikeouts, Piazza and Zeile in the 4th inning. He's got 4 in the game. And he had him fooled on that changeup out and away. Fans are great, aren't they?
I love that. Look at that.
They went out and had the sign made up. I mean, that had to be made up by a print company somewhere. Maybe they own the company. That's why they're here. They don't have to answer to anybody except the IRS. Strike taken on the inside corner. Carlos Hernandez. Hernandez grounded out his first time up. Leiter, no walks, 3 strikeouts. He has been on. That one to left field. Ricky Henderson. Have to play that one on a hop. Gets away from it, but not going to move up on that. So Hernandez off with a leadoff single.
The pitcher, number 41.
Copyrighted telecast brought to you in the authority of the Commissioner of Major League Baseball. May not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Accounts descriptions of this game may not be disseminated. Nice word, without express written consent. We want to remind you, don't forget, when you're surfing the World Wide Web, MajorLeagueBaseball.com, the most complete baseball coverage on the internet. Let's go surfing now. Runner on. That's hit number 3 for the Padres. The Mets still have only 1, looking for the bunt. Pulled back. Oh, my gosh. Robin Ventura with a big smile on his face. Ventura was almost standing in the batter's box with Hitchcock.
Ventura and Zeile both looked like they had a little timing play, and Zeile timed it, took off, but you're right. Ventura was standing right there, and Hitchcock, he's bluffing or what?
He pulled the bat back. It was a strike. They're not going to charge as hard this time, and now Zeile wants Leiter to step off as they were not set on the coverage.
Well, he served his purpose. Now, with Hernandez, the catcher on first base, you know you got to get a great bunt to advance him.
Whoa.
And that's why they're swinging.
Well, Bruce Bochy making the decision to let Hitchcock go with 1 strike. Now it's a 2-strike count.
Well, now they'll probably come back and have him bunt even with 2 strikes, but you've already forced the defense to think now. But you don't see that very often. You still see that bunt a lot more than you see a guy swing. Here it comes.
They still charge, and he butcher boyed it foul on a fastball on the fist.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, he has not squared around a bunch yet. 2-strike count. Piazza leaning away behind the plate.
What's Robin? Hey, hey, hey. They really don't have to crash that hard because Hernandez does not run that well. You still might have a play of getting him at second.
Now he bunts. Leiter looks to second. Will go to first. Zeile stayed there on the bag, so he got it done. Good sacrifice by Hitchcock to move Hernandez down to second base, and he did it with 2 strikes.
I got to give him a stand ovation. That was great. I love the creativity. Other than just, okay, the pitcher's going to bunt, we saw something different. You didn't know if he was going to bunt or not. And then he drops one down when he needs to with 2 strikes. Leiter goes the safe way, which he should, and gets the out. But Hitchcock gets a standing ovation for making it creative.
That's good work. That's tough. Especially when you got the 2 strikes on you and need to get it done. So he helps his own cause with 1 away. Runner in scoring position in this 1-0 game. And Al Martin, who has struck out and flied out.
I got to give Bochy some credit for knowing his personnel. Be able to do that.
Martin takes it up high for a ball. San Diego Padres have so far stranded 3, including 1 in scoring position.
Well, what a great message to the rest of the ball club, because you talk about things in spring training and you never do it when the season starts. You know, they probably express, hey, we get a situation where you got a chance to butcher boy, pull it back and slap it. Go ahead and do it. They tell you that all the time. Season starts, nobody ever does it. And so they executed it.
Bochy got that done with Hitchcock. Now Hitchcock hopes somebody can pick up that RBI. 1 ball, 1 strike count on Martin. Al Martin with the Pirates last year, 245 with runners in scoring position. Leiter with a good fastball, but he missed inside. And a 2-ball, 1 strike count.
This is the guy Leiter has to get in this lineup, because you got the right-hander Jackson and then Tony Gwynn. You have to get this out right here.
He's only 2 for 12 lifetime off Leiter. 2-1 delivered. Grounded towards second base. Alfonso, slow roller. Will move Hernandez over to third, but now there are 2 down, so Leiter couldn't get him home.
The shortstop, number 2, Damian Jackson.
Two away, Damian Jackson. Try and get this runner in from third base. The way this game is going, looks as though every run's going to be enormous in this game, and only combined 4 hits. 3 for the Padres and 1 for the Mets. Jackson. Inside corner strike knocked down by Piazza.
Gary, just food for thought. I felt all along if Ray Ordonez hit in the 2 spot in their order, he'd be a better hitter because you get better pitches to hit. Hitting 8th is such a difficult spot. Damian Jackson is the 2-hitter in the Padres lineup. If he were hitting 8th, he wasn't getting much to hit. Right here, he's got Tony Gwynn hitting behind him. He's going to get challenged for that simple fact that you got Tony Gwynn sitting there.
Off the fist again.
He's got 2 fastballs now, as opposed to he probably would have got a changeup, a breaking pitch, whatever. We'll put you on because we got the pitcher hitting next. It just changes your whole approach as a hitter. And I think Ordonez, if he were hitting in the 2 spot, we might see that 260 average go to 280.
Yep. Good point. 2-strike count. Fans want the K. 26-year-old Damian Jackson, runner at third base. And he got him.
Great pitch. Got a cutter in on his hands just above where he was looking for it.
Leiter has been very tough with runners in scoring position over the last 2 innings. He gets his 4th strikeout here. There was no way he was going to put the wood on that one. I always wonder, where do they find the things like that?
I'm telling you, that's a major garage sale item right there.
That'll go for big bucks.
That's the Screaming Baseball on Baseball Tonight. That's what that is.
Screaming Yellow Mimi. We know where they find those. Opening day. 2,000 for the Mets. And a good one. 1-0. Gary Thorne, Harold Reynolds. Great to have you with us, everybody. Robin Ventura against Hitchcock. Pitchers duel. 1-3-0 for the Padres. 0-1-1 for the Mets. Nevin had the home run. The only run we've had in the game. And Zeal, a leadoff double. The only hit the New York Mets have had. Robin Ventura, Gold Glover at third base. Won 5 of them with the Chicago White Sox. Came over and immediately won 1 in the National League as well. And put up solid career high numbers. 301 average and 120 RBIs, the best he has had in his 11 major league seasons.
He's a solid player. When you get a chance to hit in a good lineup, you're going to be effective, and that's Robin Ventura. Right there, got a breaking pitch, drove it up the middle. That's his first one of the year, Gary.
Had an 0 for 10, got rid of the 0 for right there, right off the mound, scattered a little dirt, put it into center field. Single off Hitchcock, second hit for the Mets.
Melvin Mora.
Well, watch him track this ball. One of the things Robin Ventura does probably better than any hitter in the game is watch his head. See how he stays on that ball and follows it through. He never pulls the head out. He allows the bat to take it out of there, and that's one of the disciplines he learned with Walt Reniak with keeping your head down. Head discipline. You can't hit what you can't see.
Now Melvin Mora. Let's have leadoff man on. Mora takes it inside. And even though it's early, Harold, players hate starting a season when double-digit over. It just starts to grind at you.
It doesn't matter how many years you've been playing. It doesn't only just grind at you. You start to panic a little bit. A hit.
He did.
Yes, he did.
Now Mora did not play in Japan in that series, 2-game series with the Cubs. And a strike on the outside corner to him, 1-1. Opening day, Padres 14-17. The Mets 23-15 in opening day games. And this one up for grabs. Mora looking down to third to Cookie Rojas. Robin Ventura is not a speedy runner. Mookie Wilson, first base coach, went over to talk to him. 1-1 breaking ball. Good off-speed breaking ball. 1-2.
Yeah, that was a great pitch. You got him looking for something inside. And I was going to say on 1-1, I'd be very surprised to see them hit and run because you're coming to the bottom of the order. You don't want to give up outs right now. I would throw another sinker and try to get that ground ball right here, or that changeup or split.
1-2 delivery to Mora. Fouled it back. Took Mora 9 years to get to the majors. He spent 9 years in the minors and never played a major league game until last year, when he got in 66 games, hit just 161. He's a .282 career minor league hitter, 31 home runs over the 9 seasons.
It's amazing to me when this guy can play shortstop, he can play anywhere in the outfield, to not make it to the big leagues in 9 years. Somebody missed it there. I don't understand that.
He's had good numbers average-wise and a good fielder. 1-2, and again chopped foul off Hitchcock. Bring Ventura back to first base. So 1-2 count of Ventura not being a speedy runner. Not likely he's going to go anywhere over there with nobody out. Mora is a pretty good contact hitter.
Well, that's part of that determination and grit you were talking about earlier that Bobby Valentine likes so much about Mora. He's going to put the ball in play because he's just determined. He's not going to give in.
And there's that wild pitch again in the dirt. It's not a wild pitch because Hernandez blocked it. Splitter that bounces. He's bounced about 3 of those. Unless Hernandez needs all the protection he can get.
This is a great play by Hernandez because it bounces so far away from him. You see how he rounded that ball and just tried to keep it in front of him. Again, he knew his runner was Ventura, and he didn't have to worry about trying to get up and grab it.
Don't you love that outfit?
That's the Millennium uniform.
Does look like a rollerball outfit, doesn't it? 2-2 delivery. Whoa. Just missed outside. 3-2 with Ventura at first.
And that was the pitch Hitchcock wanted, because if he swings at it and makes contact, it's more than likely going to be a ground ball. And that's what he wanted. Here it was. And further out than it looked live.
3-2. Ventura being held by Klesko at first. Runner not going. Oh, he is going to shortstop. Jackson. Boone. Stretch and got him. Mora hits into the double play, and a good pivot by Brett Boone as Ventura tried to take him out at second base.
Well, Brett Boone turns one of the best pivots in all of baseball. I put him and Robbie Alomar right at the top with turning the pivot, and that's why he's got the strong arm and he's got extremely quick hands, and he's fearless. You see how he hung in there? The situation, he knew the runner was going. Jackson got rid of the ball and got it to him, and Boone hung in there. He knew he was going to get hit. And that's what you gotta be able to do. But he's got great ability. Watch how quick he gets rid of this ball. Just gets rid of it, and he puts something on it, and you got a fast runner. That's a great play.
Big play. Shortstop Jackson on the ground ball by Ordonez, and that's it.
Very nice.
So the Mets got a leadoff single, but sent only 3 to the plate. We've completed 5. Padres lead it. At the ballpark today, the artist is Leroy Neiman. The subject is Tony Gwynn. Neiman here watching the ball game, and prior to the start of it, down on the field. I'll take it if he'd sign it. Tony Gwynn pops that one up, shortstop. Gwynn, who had flied out, been hit by a pitch, will be retired on the pop out to Ray Ordonez, and we'll check in again with Bill Pito. Bill.
All right, Gary, over on ESPN, the Brewers and the Reds Marquise Grissom up with the bases loaded and 1 out. Base hit drives in 1 to tie the game at 3, but after that, Pete Harnisch got out of bases loaded, 1 out jam, didn't give up another run, and it's 3-3 in the bottom of the 4th.
Yeah, Brewers coming back in that ball game, and the concern for Cincinnati, they've got some offense, but do they have the pitching?
Yeah, that's the question for everybody in baseball is what are you going to do with your pitching?
Phil Nevin has delivered the lone run in this game. He got the homer in the 2nd inning, and he is singled. He has 2 of the 3 hits. And the only run off Leiter, who was walked none and struck out 4. And again, he drives it into left field. That one off the fist. So Nevin, 3 for 3 today, and 7 for 11 lifetime now on Bell Leiter.
Number 30, Ryan Klesko.
Well, if you missed it, put us 1-0 right here. He got a fastball in. He drove it out of the ballpark, and we just saw him get a base hit. You see how short his swing was. And when you're facing a guy that throws a hard cutter on the inside half, you have to be able to pull those hands in and through the zone, and that's what Phil Nevin's doing. He's been very successful off Mr. Leiter.
He's having a day. What an opener. 3 for 3 for Nevin. Here's Ryan Klesko, and he fouls it back. Klesko, a benefactor of the work done by Don Baylor, now of course managing the Chicago Cubs, but Baylor was with Atlanta as a hitting instructor. Chipper Jones credited Baylor with his MVP award, and Klesko said he's the reason I'm going to be a much better hitter against left-handed pitchers and a better hitter overall with the work he did with me. Go to first. We'll get him back with 1 down.
Well, it's always nice to have somebody pump confidence into you, because so much of hitting is confidence.
He ended up with the 2nd highest average of his career last year at 297. He's a 281 career hitter. And obviously, Klesko's got power. Trouble is, he'll pile up those strikeouts as well. Left-hander Leiter with a 1-1. Foul back again, a 1-2 count.
That was a pitch that he knew a fastball was coming, and got a ball up in his eyes. Look at Leiter there. He's already into 71 pitches here. That's the key number today, is the pitch count. How long are you going to let these pitchers throw?
1-2 delivery. Back him off. 2-ball, 2-strike count on Klesko. 1 down, 1 on. Klesko strikeout victim and is grounded out. Leiter working out of the stretch here, hoping to keep Nevin right there at first base, and you see Zeile working against him. Popped out. It's another thing that Zeile's got to learn. Coming to the Mets and playing first base is unlike going anywhere else and playing first, because Bobby Valentine has his first baseman hold the runner off the bag.
Yeah, very unconventional. He doesn't straddle the base. You actually line up with the base runner. As a base runner myself, that never distracted me. Some guys think that does. Obviously, Bobby must think that, because he's got his first baseman doing that. But if you're a base stealer or a base runner, you're looking at the pitcher anyway. You're not looking at the guy who's holding you on the base for your keys.
Sometimes, Harold, did you ever have a problem with a guy at first baseman where you could not see the batter and were missing pitches because you were trying to look through the first baseman?
He would block your vision, but what I try to do is get off as far as he is. And then when you take your secondary steps, you're going to be past him anyway. And then you take off like this plane.
See Nevin looking around him, and Klesko to left field. Ricky Anderson coming. 2 down.
The second baseman, number 29, Brett Boone.
Well, we get a chance to look at this pitch sequence here. Fastball up. It was a good rip. And then he laid off a tough cutter. Then came up with the fastball in. See, he's continually working him high in the zone, and Klesko's got to lay off that high pitch. He gets one down. He'll handle the ball down. That one's up again. And here's the ball he puts into play. It's a ball that's down. So he's got to set his sights on a ball down against Leiter. If he gets up, he's swinging through it, and that's what he struck out on the at-bat before, was a high fastball.
2 down, and Boone with that big cut fouls it back. Leiter has had to work here in the last 3 innings. The 4th inning, the first 2 got on. He retired 3 in a row. Leadoff single in the 6th inning, Hernandez. He retired 3 in a row. And then here in this inning, a one-out single by Nevin. He's still at first, and now there are 2 down. Boone lines that one, but it's going to go foul.
Well, Leiter losing a little bit on his fastball now. You know, he's into late 70s, almost 80 pitches now. And that's the key. You're going to lose velocity the more you get into the game. It's early in the season. But the one strength, Gary, that the Mets do have is they have a tremendous bullpen.
One of the best in baseball. And it will get used here today, obviously. Boone with 2 strikes takes it up high. Bobby Valentine, though, is not adverse, even early in the year, to leaving his starters out there. He'll let them go almost up to that 100 pitch mark or over sometimes if the guy seems to be on and is saying he's all right. Nice stop by Piazza. 2-ball, 2-strike count on Boone. That's a bouncing out to get that one that skipped on him.
Well, Al Leiter lets you know what he's thinking all the time. He's into the game. I love it when a pitcher's in the game. He is so animated. You know, I missed that one. Okay, I'm sorry. And when you saw him give up the home run, all right, give me the ball back. He's going to let you know.
And Boone picked that one out of the dirt. Yeah, he is a great guy to be around. Leiter loves to enjoy this game. You love to see players who still remember there should be some enjoyment doing this, like all jobs, right?
That's right.
Should enjoy what you're doing, and Leiter does. 13 years, 34-year-old, hometown right across the Hudson, Toms River, New Jersey.
Little League capital.
World champs. 2-2. Did he go? Check it first. Yes, he did. Wally Bell made the call. That is strikeout number 5 for Leiter. No runs, a base hit, 1 left on. Leiter going. He went. He went. Check it. Check it. Boy, that was a scary thing to see right there. This year, we start something new for baseball every Sunday at noon on ESPN2 Baseball Today. Rich Eisen, Errol Reynolds, Buck Martinez provide a fresh look, big picture, personalities, issues around Major League Baseball. Baseball Today on ESPN2. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my.
Gammons is never going to live that down. Al Leiter. And a strike taken.
Peter's wife told him, that is the ugliest human I've ever seen.
She's an honest person. Mrs. Gammons does not lie.
That's funny.
Whoa. Here's the 1-1 delivery. And the pitch is taken on the inside corner, 2-1.
Good thing he's a man. He takes all that off.
You, of course, are not going to be involved in any of those promotional type videos, are you?
We've got some great ones coming.
That's what I thought. Here's the 2-1 delivery, and Leiter puts that one out to left center field. Rivera. 0 for 2 for Al Leiter, and 1 down in the 6th inning.
The left fielder,
boy, these 2 pitchers.
number 24.
Take your hat
Ricky
off already.
Henderson.
I mean, Al Leiter on the mound hasn't walked anybody. Struck out 5 in his opener. Hitchcock has walked 1, struck out 4. Padres have 4 hits, and the Mets have 2. They have dominated this game. The Nevin swing is the only run up on the board, and that came way back there in the 2nd inning.
Well, Gary, as you know, you throw strikes, and it's very difficult to hit. Get ahead of the hitters and make them have to chase your pitch, and that's what we've seen today.
I once had a Major League manager tell me something I've never forgotten. He said, you know what I do with pitchers? I don't want to throw strikes and are afraid. I take them out to the batting cage. And I say, stand there and count how many hits there are. Grounded down to third base. Henderson hustling. Nevin's there. The point being, even in batting practice with batting practice pitches being thrown, there still aren't a lot of hits. It's still hard to drive the ball, even when it's being laid in there.
Yeah.
Throw strikes. There's Tom Seaver, a man who could do that. And there's Ralph Kiner, the man sitting, who hit a few of them.
Yes, indeed.
One of the game's great all-time home run hitters, Ralph Kiner. 2 Hall of Famers right there.
I get my pen and a ball.
I'm sure Tom is talking about wine. And the pitch is outside. Derek Bell. Tom, you can tell he's making a point he believes in.
Oh, yeah, he's letting you know.
Broadcasting for the Mets and my partner over there on many occasions. 1-0 delivery and a 2-0 count to Derek Bell. 2 down, nobody on. Bell is walked and lined out to shortstop. Soft line drive. Mets have stranded only 2 base runners. They've had only 1 in scoring position. That was Zeal's double. Jackson. Hitchcock getting help behind him and not hurting himself as he's throwing strikes as Bell is retired. A couple of ground ball outs. 6th inning. 1, 2, 3 they go. Al Leiter ready to go as we're in the 7th inning of a great opener here at Shea Stadium. Harold Reynolds, I'm Gary Thorne. Great to have you with us here in New York. Rain is held off. Light breeze blowing out the left. Pretty good glare going right now through the thin overcast. Rivera down to 3rd. Gold Glover's got it. Ventura's throw. Zeal scoops. 1 down.
Well, very interesting watching Robin Ventura make that play and come up with the throw. Now he's coming off arm surgery. Watch how he sets his body to get a little more velocity on this and sets himself up and comes and throws. Now you see a lot of players, even Damian Jackson on the last out, last inning, came running through. Watch Todd Zeal pick it up. Nice little scoop. This is what he does best over there at first. Looks it in. Nice little pickup. But Ventura setting his body, and that's so important. Takes so much stress off the arm.
Pitchers continue to dominate here. Look at this. Flyouts, groundouts, strikeouts. 775. He's almost up there to that new aircraft. Those 777s. Pitches outside there. 2 ball, no strike count on Carlos Hernandez, the catcher. Not a single, and was stranded in the 5th inning, left at 3rd base. Managers will be happy with their 2 starters today.
Well, the other thing, it's a fast game, and you're keeping everybody involved. You saw the distribution of outs right there by Leiter, and it keeps everybody on their toes. The whole game clicks, and now you're back in the dugout ready to hit again.
That's the way baseball is meant to be played. 3-0 count here, and Adams swinging, and Ordonez can't get it. So Bruce Bochy is out to win. He let him go. Number 8 hitter for one reason.
The pitcher.
3-0 count, picked up a single. He's 2 for 3.
Well, he's done a couple things right there. He let the 8 hitter swing on the 3-0 count like you were saying, and last time he let Sterling Hitchcock fake a bunt, pull back, and swing 2 times, and then bunt with 2 strikes. Ordonez got caught leaning the other way. Actually, it was a pitch that Hernandez was away from him, and he just hooked it. When you're up on a 3-0 count, you're looking to pull something, and he pulled it.
Will he bunt here? Leiter comes inside to make it tough if he meant it. And a 1-0 count. Hitchcock delivered a 2-strike sacrifice after butcher boying it a couple of times. Bochy, let's see what he does here. I mean, we're in the 7th inning of a 1-0 game, so a vital potential run out there. Leiter talking with Zeal as they get their signs straight over there with Hernandez at first.
Well, it's interesting. Now, Zeal, the untraditional way that Bobby Valentine plays it, allows Zeal to get in closer.
The runner goes, and the throw, and he got him! Mike Piazza to Ray Ordonez as they had Hernandez running.
Well, they're mixing it up. Great pickup by Ray Ordonez right there. But again, Bochy's showing you different looks, and Hitchcock pulled back the swing on that one. I don't know if maybe that was supposed to be a hit and run or whatever, but Ordonez sitting there right there makes a great pickup. Now here it is. Let's look at it again. Hitchcock pulls back. And watch Ordonez. He's already set, so he was able to come up with a great pick and tag.
One of the concerns for the Mets this year is Mike Piazza behind the plate and his arm. Piazza last year had 115 stolen bases against him, the most in the majors against any catcher. Ordonez helped him there.
Don't think Bruce Bochy doesn't know that number.
Piazza caught only 30 last year, and even that throw was not the way you want it to be. And Bochy's going to test him, and so will other teams. Piazza will be tested early this year. He's worked on throwing in spring training and in the off-season, trying to get a quicker release from behind the plate, because that could be vital when you're talking about a Mets team that's probably going to be competing for the #1 spot. close games, those plays matter. Foul back by Hitchcock.
There's some give and take with Mike Piazza being your catcher. You're going to get the tremendous power numbers we've been talking about the whole time, but the holdback is that he's so big. Look at he's 6'4", and he's got to get back up and make a strong throw. And there's the pick. Ordonez saved him there, but Leiter able to battle back, come up with a strikeout.
Well, I'll tell you, not easy. 7th inning stretch time. Shea Stadium opening day for the Mets at home. Big part of the order coming up. Fred Wilpon, one of the co-owners of the New York Mets, along with Nelson Doubleday, throwing out some goodies here to the fans at Shea Stadium during the 7th inning stretch. That's the man who primarily made the decision that Bobby Valentine, the manager, and Steve Phillips, the GM, would not get new contracts until this season's over. A decision on that would be made then. So Valentine, not happy about that, said so, but that's the way it's going to be. And in this ball game, he wants a run. Met fans up. Bottom of the 7th. Edgardo Alfonzo leads it off. Hitchcock and Leiter in a pitching duel to open up the season here in the U.S. Alfonzo 0 for 2, 2 for 8 on the year. 1 walk, 4 strikeouts for Hitchcock. And up high, ball 2.
Hitchcock just hasn't put a whole lot of balls over the plate. He's nibbled. He's been on both the corners, and that's why he's been able to throw a shutout.
I'm surprised we haven't seen either bullpen active here yet.
I am very surprised.
I mean, tomorrow's a day off. Both these guys are deep in the game. They're pitching extremely well, but I'm surprised neither manager's decided to get anybody up just in case.
As soon as you say that, Bochy heard you.
I'm sure.
And he said, Gary, you're right. Let me get somebody up. He's got getting a couple guys up in the bullpen right now.
Alfonzo with a 2-ball, 1-strike count. 4 for 16 lifetime off Hitchcock, who misses inside, falls behind 3-1.
But the interesting thing is that I'm surprised he didn't hit for Hitchcock in the bottom half, in the top of the inning, and take him out of the ball game if he's going to go to the pen this early with the first hitter.
Does that say something about the bullpen and his faith in it already?
Yeah, it does. It speaks volumes.
He walked him. A lead-off walk to Edgardo Alfonzo.
The catcher, number 31.
Also might say, hey, we're going to trade him anyway, so I may as well just get as much out of him as I possibly can. He is on the blocks.
Sterling Hitchcock. Alfonzo's on the base. The leadoff man on for the Mets. Wisnet and Donnie Wall working in the bullpen. And Mike Piazza's up. The Mets last year continually won ball games, late inning rallies. Can they do it again on the opener here in 2000 at Shea? Piazza's 0 for 2. And Hitchcock falls behind. Piazza at 298 off left-handers last year with 11 home runs. And drills that one. Al Martin cuts it off. Alfonso's going to go to third, and he'll make it.
That's great base running by Edgardo Alfonzo, and that just comes from doing your homework. Because Al Martin cut that ball off immediately, and I was thinking in my mind, great play by Al Martin, but he knows that he doesn't throw real well, so he challenged him and went all the way to third. Piazza just hits a bullet. Great follow-through. And drives this ball into the gap. Now watch Alfonso. He doesn't hesitate. He knows who's out in left field. He knows how he throws. He doesn't look for a coach or anything. Anytime the ball's in front of you, that's your decision. And he did his homework by playing against Al Martin enough games. He knows he doesn't have a great arm, even though he cut it off. And he had the ball before Edgardo decided to make the turn. Big play. Huge play.
Probably the bullpen is not quite ready yet. Carlos Hernandez the catcher doing a lot of the talking out there.
Well, somebody threw a pitch that they didn't want to throw. That's usually what happens when you see a catcher and a pitcher in a confrontation like that. He probably shook him off, and Hernandez wanted a different pitch. First and third, no outs, Gary.
Big time for the Mets right here. And they only have 3 hits, being out hit 5-3, but Piazza with a single has given the Mets the rally in the 7th inning with nobody out. Here's Todd Zeile. Zeile with a double in the 2nd inning.
You have to get contact out of Zeile here, at least tie the ball game up some way.
The off-speed pitch is in for a strike. Zeile, a good clutch hitter, 301 last year with runners in scoring position. Has a chance for an RBI and a big opening day at Shea with the Mets down 1-0. And it does look like for the first time in the game, Hitchcock is struggling a little bit locating his pitches.
And you can almost sense the crowd is starting to recognize it too. They're starting to get into the ball game. But you're right, Gary. It looks like his release point is starting to change a little bit, and that happens with fatigue.
1 ball, 1 strike count. Zeile takes it inside, 2-1.
You go through the lineup a few times, that allows hitters to make adjustments, and that's what the Met hitters are doing right now. They're not chasing that pitch that they were chasing earlier in the game that he wasn't throwing over the plate. They're making him throw the ball over the plate now.
Here's the 2-1 delivery to Zeile, and he's to right field. Tony Gwynn in the gap. Will make the catch. Alfonso will tag, and this ball game is tied.
It's a great piece of hitting by Todd Zeile, and he almost hit it right after I was saying they're making him throw the ball over the plate. He got a pitch that was out over, took a nice little inside-out hack. Now they come in. Last time he turned on it. Now look at him, he's trying to get the ball in the air and drive it the other way, and great piece of hitting by Todd Zeile.
His first RBI as a New York Met comes on the sac fly for Todd Zeile, and it's a tie game. 1-1. 1 down. Piazza at first, and Robin Ventura, who got out of the 0 for 10 with a single in his last at-bat, stands in, and a 1-strike count. So Leiter's got the run back he gave up on the homer to Nevin. Mets have not had any bullpen action today. Leiter still 3 hitters away from being up. Strike high and on the inside corner.
Well, it looked like Robin picked that up. He just did not want to hit that pitch. He thought it might be in a little bit, but you can tell sometimes how a guy approaches a ball if he's seeing it very well. It looked like he saw the ball pretty good.
271 off left-handers, 314 off right-handers last year for Robin Ventura. Outside, Hernandez out to get it.
And you can, there's so many signs in a game. Right there, Hitchcock tried to drop down and throw a breaking pitch. You hadn't seen that the whole game. Those are signs of guys getting tired, trying to not have much confidence in their stuff, trying to be creative to do anything to get an out.
Trying to find something new.
Yeah.
1 ball, 2 strike count. Not holding. Piazza, who's running, and it's fouled off. So with 1 away and a 1-2 count, Mike Piazza was going with Klesko playing behind him.
He had that bag, too. He had a great jump. I've always felt like every catcher, you see he's looking at Ventura, watching where he stands, trying to figure out what pitch he's going to call. And he's checking to see if Robin's actually peeking back there, and he's not. But while he's doing that, he wasn't looking at the runner, Piazza, who actually got a bigger lead.
And that hit him. So Robin Ventura gets hit. Second hit batter we've had. Tony Gwynn was hit by Leiter, and he got hit on a 1-2 count.
And he's done. I was just getting ready to say, here comes Bruce Bochy now. We saw him drop down, Gary, try to get a little more creative, and then he hit the batter right there. Hitchcock just ran out of gas. He pitched a tremendous game.
He does not complete many ball games. He had only 1 complete game all of last year. And Sterling Hitchcock will leave with 4 strikeouts, 2 walks, and a very fine performance, but he leaves with the ball game tied at 1-1.
Major League Baseball opening day on ESPN2 is brought to you by Flexon, the flexible metal eyeglass frame. Flexon by Marchon. And by Q West, the bandwidth to change everything.
Donnie Wall, and a swing and a miss by the pinch hitter, Darrell Hamilton. Hamilton hitting for Melvin Mora against right-hander, 32-year-old Donnie Wall.
Donnie Wall's the type of pitcher who's not going to really throw the ball by you. Right there, you saw a first pitch breaking ball. He'll throw a breaking ball, a sinker, and occasionally a changeup, but he won't overpower you. He's a situational guy, and he wants to get a ground ball right here, and that's what they're looking to do.
Hamilton 1 for 7, sent in as a left-handed hitter against the right-hander. As Bobby Valentine says early, what he's probably going to do this year, Mora started against the lefty, but as soon as the right-hander came out of the pen, here's Darrell Hamilton pinch hitting. Mora's out. Mora went 0 for 2. First and second, 1 down. Breaking ball. Whoa, did he fool Hamilton on that one? Wow, second out.
That was a big hook, too. He gave him 2 different looks. The first one, a little sharper snap, and then that one was a real slow hook. I'm not sure if it's going to come back, but when you got 2 strikes, you got to try to do anything to foul that ball off or protect, and you don't see that happen to Darrell Hamilton too often. You got him.
Ray Ordonez now with 2 down. Piazza's on at second base. He had the single. Ventura hit by a pitch is on at first. We're in the 7th inning at Shea. Mets have tied it up. Ray Ordonez up high for a ball. Ordonez 0 for 3 in the only times he's faced Donnie Wall, and he is 0 for 2 today. RBI chance for Ordonez, 263 with runners in scoring position last year. Now Leiter's out in the on-deck circle, so the left-hander John Franco furthest away, and Turk Wendell, the right-hander closest to you, throwing in the pen for the Mets.
One thing the Mets do have is they have an understanding of what their roles are in the bullpen, and that helps an awful lot when you have a pretty defined situation that you know when you're going to get ready, when you've got a chance to come up or not be up in a ball game, I should say.
Pat Mahomes will be the long reliever this year. Franco will be a setup man. Wendell will be a setup man and a middle man. Benitez is the closer. The roles are well defined. 2 ball, 1 strike count on Ordonez. Breaking ball missed inside, and a 3-1 count. Pitcher may be on deck, but obviously if Ordonez gets on, he's not going to hit, so he's got to go after Ray Ordonez.
Yeah, and I'm figuring it's probably going to come with John Nunley, I would think.
Straight heat, 3-2.
Seemed to be the first guy off the bench before the left-hander off the bench. You have a left-hander warming up in the pen.
Donnie Wall out of the pen for Hitchcock. Where the Mets have picked up right where they left off last year in these kind of games. Swung on him, missed, he got him.
And that's hitting in the 9 spot, that 3-2 hook right there. He missed the 3-1 fastball by not swinging. Donnie Wall comes in big, shuts him down.
Wall strikes out 2. The Mets get it tied up, though, as Alfonso, a leadoff walk and a sac fly by Zeal, has made it 1-1. So Al Leiter's going to stay on as we go to the 8th inning. He has not walked a batter. He has struck out 6. And Bobby Valentine wants to give him a chance to win this ball game. Leiter is due to lead off the bottom half of the inning. So the bullpen will stay active, but Leiter will stay on. And that one off Al Martin's bat outside of third. Robin Ventura. Wind blowing it towards the seats. Plenty of room. 1 swing, 1 out.
And that's a bad at bat by Al Martin. This is a situation you got to make Leiter work. You got to take a pitch right there, make him work. That was his 94th pitch of the game. You know he's not going to go very far past 100. You're in the 8th inning. It's the first game of the year. That's the role of the leadoff hitter. Make him work right there in that situation. There are certain at-bats you have to give up, and that's one of them right there.
So Martin's out of there with an 0 for 4 day now. 0 for 3 Jackson. Top of the order, table setters have not been able to get on. Hitchcock worked 6 1/3, gave up a run on 3 hits, walked 2 and struck out 4. That one fouled off, so Hitchcock will get a non-decision in this ball game. Leiter still has a chance to win it, obviously.
See, by Al Martin swinging at that first pitch and going out, Damian Jackson automatically has to take a pitch. Now he's down 0-1. Then Leiter comes back, throws him a breaking ball. He doesn't get a pitch to hit. He fouls it off. He's 0-2. Changes the whole inning.
Those are the wonderful things about this game, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely. That's the beautiful inside things.
Yep. You think about one guy's at bat affects another. He knows it. 1-2 delivery. Fouled off, tagged out, got him. 7 strikeouts in the game for Al Leiter.
Number 19, Tony Gwynn.
Well, it was another cutter. He got Jackson earlier on a cutter, and here it is again. Look at how he tries to swing at this pitch. No way you're going to catch up to it. Later in the game, that cutter starts to sink a little bit because it's not as sharp. He's getting a little bit tireder.
Tony Gwynn with 2 down and nobody on. This is right where you want Gwynn if you're the Mets. Gwynn had to lead off the last inning. He led off the 4th inning, and he was the final out with nobody on in the 1st. Those are the situations where if you got to face Tony Gwynn, you want to face it.
Absolutely.
Or he can't do damage. 2-strike count.
He is on a roll right now. 102 pitches. This is a critical inning because he's gotten ahead of every hitter. He's been able to cruise.
Wendell's ready in the bullpen if Valentine wants him. Tony Gwynn. Center field. Hamilton. He got it right at him. What a job by Al Leiter, and he'll be recognized by the fans as he comes off the field here. He'll be pinch hit for in a 1-1 game in the 8th inning. Al Leiter out of the game, but a great 8 innings. 1 run, 5 hits, no walks, and 7 strikeouts. Donnie Wall stays on in relief for San Diego, and John Nunnally is the pinch hitter for Leiter, who now will hope the Mets can get the lead here in this inning and give him a chance to win it. Nunnally making the ball club after being with the Red Sox organization last year. He played only 10 games for Boston, the rest at Pawtucket AAA. Swung on and missed. 28-year-old veteran of Kansas City, Cincinnati, Boston, and now the New York Mets.
This guy's got a world of talent. He's one of those guys that just needs an opportunity to play. He stole the job in spring training this year.
Wall gets the pop-up off Nunnally's bat, and it'll be played by Jackson, the shortstop. 1 away here in the bottom half of the 8th inning. What a duel. 1-5-0 for the Padres, 1-3-1 for the Mets.
The left fielder, number 24, Ricky Henderson.
Ricky Henderson to be followed by Derek Bell against Donnie Wall, who came on and struck out 2 in the 7th. It's a non-decision. Hitchcock, the starter. Henderson has had an 0 for 3 today. 1 for 10 on the season. He's 3 for 6 lifetime off Wall, and get a piece of that one.
Trying to get a little something started. Ricky's always talking to himself at the plate.
Make sure you stay back, Ricky. Make sure you see the ball, Rick.
It's funny. It's so fun to be around listening to him. Always talking to himself. All right, Rick. Make sure you get the pitch right here, Rick.
1 ball, 1 strike count. And the breaking ball by Wall is in the dirt. 2-1 on Ricky Henderson.
Well, you know, Ricky Henderson, this is his situation. Here's the difference between him and Al Martin. He got the first pitch that he's looking for, tried to drive it, hit it foul. And now he's worked the pitcher to a count where he knows he's got him where he wants him. It's 2-1. Ricky's sure that he's going to get a fastball right here to hit.
Al Martin went after that first pitch in the last inning and really helped Al Leiter get out of the inning quickly. Obviously, you want Henderson with that great speed on all the time. Wow, good fastball. Set up by the off-speed pitch he'd thrown before that. That one looked like it was going 1,000 miles an hour. 2-2. And up high. So a 3-ball, 2-strike count. Leiter's going to stay right there on the bench and watch this. He's got a chance to win this game, talking with Piazza, the catcher, next to him. Henderson raised his average 79 points last year from the year before. That's the kind of season he had for the Mets. Fouls that back to keep it alive, 3-2. He takes a ton of pitches that you really want out of your leadoff batter. I mean, Ricky Henderson brings to the leadoff spot about everything you could ever want in a leadoff.
Well, he's the greatest leadoff hitter to play, but he brings such a strong combination. You have to throw to him because he's going to kill you if you walk him. It's walking a triple. At least in his prime, it was for sure a triple. And he's well aware of that. That's why he's able to sit there and know that they have to come to me with a certain pitch.
He took more pitches than any other Met hitter last year. One away. Donnie Wall, fastball, got him.
Mercy.
Anderson's not going to like that one. Turns around to the home plate umpire, Mark Hirschbeck.
The right fielder, number 60, Derek Bell.
Well, we'll get a better look at this fastball. It's a fastball away. Ricky's been looking for balls inside. That's just a tough pitch to take with 2 strikes. You don't expect a guy to throw a ball right there.
Donnie Wall has struck out 3 of the 4 that he's faced. That one drilled to left field, way back. Derek Bell, and goodbye home run. Mets lead it 2-1.
Derek Bell brings an enthusiasm and excitement to this ball club that I think they miss, because he's the type of guy that is not afraid to cheer, and he's clutch. Look at him. They love him.
The homer off Donnie Wall, and the Mets, who came from behind last year to win an inordinate number of games, now have a 2-1 lead on the homer here in the bottom of the 8th inning.
Well, Al Leiter says thank you, Derek Bell. Do nothing but win this game now, or doesn't have a decision, or doesn't get a decision, one of the two, and you can't get a loss.
Boy, that was a line drive shot. Edgardo Alfonzo, 2 down.
Well, he gets a fastball, and I mean, he tattooed this. Perfect swing. Knew it was gone. Gary, who's more excited than this guy?
Fly ball left field, fairly deep. Al Martin there, and Edgardo Alfonzo's out of there. Who was more excited than Derek Bell when he hit the home run to give the Mets a lead? The guy who can be the winning pitcher in this game if 3 more outs are recorded without a run, Al Leiter. That's the Mets slogan for this year, amazing again. Last year, the Mets had the best winning percentage in 1-run games of any team in the National League, 27-19. And Derek Bell has delivered a home run in the bottom of the 8th inning, giving the Mets a chance to win this one, with Al Leiter waiting to see if he's going to be the winning pitcher in his opener of the 2000 season. And boy, if he's happy about the home run, he's also happy that Armando Benitez is the guy who comes on for a save.
Well, what a great guy to go to. It's hard, overpowering fastball. When I say overpowering, he's got a fastball in the mid-90s, but it explodes. Some guys have 90-mile-an-hour fastballs that are just straight. This one explodes. It's very difficult to catch up to, and he's got a nasty slider to go with it.
Home run for Nevin is the only run the Padres have. First ball hitting, popped up. Zeal. One down in the 9th.
Well, you had a lot of sure-handed folks
baseman,
standing right there waiting for that
number
pop
30,
fly to come down.
Ryan Klesko.
You got your choice, or you let him take that?
Let him take it.
Let them all take it.
Al Leiter, 2 outs away from a win. Armando Benitez last year struck out just about everybody he faced. 14.7 strikeouts per 9 innings, the second highest in Major League history, with Billy Wagner setting the high last year at 14.95. Benitez looking for the save. Missed inside to Ryan Klesko. 2 balls and no strikes. Klesko has had the 0 for today, 0 for 3. 27-year-old Armando Benitez, who throws nothing but heat. Robin Ventura. Nobody can get to it. John Nunnally's out there in left field now for Henderson. We welcome those of you joining us from other games. Major League Baseball opening day at Shea. The Mets, who split with the Cubs in Tokyo, 1-1 against the Padres, and the Mets have come back after trailing 1-0 on a Nevin home run in the second to take the lead on a Bell home run in the 8th. 2-1. 9th inning. Armando Benitez on, trying to save the game for starter Al Leiter, and Ryan Klesko with 1 away fouls it off for a 2-2 count. Derek Bell starting in right field, and a 2-out homer in the 8th inning, his first of the year, to put the Mets up. Todd Zeile, a sac fly, the other RBI. How about that, Zeile and Bell? Strike! Ray Benitez.
The second baseman, number 29, Brett Boone.
Klesko retired. Our game summary. Fogdog.com. 2-4-1 for the Mets, 1-5-0. Padres, Nevin. Big day at the plate. Hitchcock, outstanding start, but Leiter was better. Ground ball to short. Ray Ordonez. Boom! Out of there. Mets win it. 2-1.
Well, Gary, we talked about the 2 guys at the top of the telecast, Derek Bell and Todd Zeile. The importance of that, the acquisition of those 2 players. They both had big days today. Al Leiter was outstanding, though. Just dominated through a lot of strikes, kept the ball and moved it in and out, and he gave the hitters and the defense an opportunity to get in and off the field, and that's one of the reasons we had such a quick game today.
Only 2 hours, 24 minutes, and Harold, this was a really well-played baseball game to open it up. These 2 starters had incredible starts going deep into the game. Heroics by Bell late. Leiter 8 innings, a run on 5 hits, walked nobody, and struck out 7.
Number 16, Derek Bell.
It was interesting, the combinations that the Mets were able to come at you. You can see the tide turn about the 7th inning. When Leiter got out of a jam and the Padres weren't able to do much, you could see the momentum start to swing, and that's really what carried it on today. You talk about home openers. The crowd was behind them today. Big swing here by Derek Bell.
Donnie Wall gave up the home run. He takes the loss. 0-1. Al Leiter in his start gets the win. 1-0. And Benitez gets his first save. Earl Reynolds and all of our crew, I'm Gary Thorne. Thanks for joining us, everybody. The New York Mets win the opener here over San Diego 2-1. Let's go to Bill Pito.